Okay, today we're going to be talking about the Eye of Horus and its true explanation, and the Anchor and its true explanation, and both together because the true explanation links them intrinsically and they cannot be separated. And so we're going to go through all the evidence. I'm going to point out, due to double helix energy travel and energy theory, that electricity and electromagnetism run the universe, and this is fully displayed in every single picture of the Eye of Horus and the Anchor by color coding and depiction of animals. And so I will explain as I go along. Some of these things may be a little philosophical with no proof. That will be blatantly obvious, and I will say so, but everything else is going to be electricity and electromagnetism. But first I need to show you why and what I'm talking about. So this is where I discovered in smoke that energy goes from a vortex to a halo wave and back to a vortex, and it is a rolling wave behavior. And as you can see, it is also the same as Tesla's fluid diode. So I'm going to invoke the fallacy of authority here and point to Tesla, but Tesla knew all about electricity, which means he knew all about water flow, because water flow is depicted as electricity and living water. And so the very fact that I discovered that Tesla's fluid diode is rotated and moved by acceleration rings and ouroborus torus field, which gives energy back to the center, which is how atoms work as well, and how they create a second orbital by Lorentz force ejection rings. The smoke travel is all energy travel, because that is radiation travel, because it's coming from a radiation fire. And so after God showed me the double helix and everything, he then proceeded to show me it in smoke, and it explains everything, because the vortex to the rollover halo wave and back to a vortex is the Anchor. And the Eye of Horus, we're going to use the symbolisms of a, I think it's an eagle, or it might be some other kind of bird. But the eagle is the waveform, which is why God also has wings. And the snakes are the dielectric circuit. Okay, let's go through it. Okay, first off, we're going to set some ground rules. The snake is electricity, and the eagle, which is the wings, are the electrical waveform. Now, it's in blue and red because electricity and electromagnetism are the same. One is just going perpendicular to the other. Electricity is a lightning bolt going vertical, let's say, and then clouds are electromagnetic waveforms that are perpendicular to the original flow. So there you have your snake and you have your eagle. Now we'll be showing other means of showing that they are the electricity and a waveform, so that will be explained. So okay, first of all, looking at this, we have the snake at the front. Now, to me, it is carrying something. It is carrying a water holder, and in that water holder is a Fibonacci spiral. I've already stated that energy is a spiral, a dielectric spiral circuit of water, and that water is comparable to electricity flow, which is why that is there. So the snake is showing by water holder, and the fact that it's coming out of the tear duct, which is also salt water as well. We are saltwater beings, and electricity works better in salt water, which is why it's coming out of the tear duct. So you have the water carrier holder on top with the water swirl in it. Imagine water going down a plug. So already we have a snake with water. Now, the beginning of the snake coming from the eye duct, you see its kind of skin, and then you see inside, and it's blue, red, green, blue, red, green, blue, red, green. That there is a heteromach formation. And so again, because it's got the two colours, or there might even be three colours here, because it has a mixture of both the eagle and the bird in there, it is showing that inside the snake there is also another heteromach formation, which is a snake through the middle, and then the wings of the eagle, which is the ouroborus waveform. So that is why the snake shows its insides to be alternating current blue, red, or blue, red, green, but it's basically stating that three things, or at least two, are incorporated in here. So you have your snake, then you see inside the snake, and you see a waveform, which is electromagnetic formation, inside the snake. And on top of the snake's head is the water of life, which is what it depicts. Electricity is the water of life. So then we come around back to the eagle at the back here. Now I've said this is a waveform, and again it is blue and red and blue and red and blue and red, because electricity and electromagnetism through matter is a cascade. It says electricity, electromagnetism, electricity, electromagnetism. That is why both the snake and the eagle are blue and red and have both colours in both animals to show that they are intrinsically linked. Now if you look at what the eagle has its foot on, you will see a dark blue wave to a perpendicular light blue vortex. So do you see that? The vortex is the waveform. The light blue vortex is electricity. Then you have the eagle, which is the waveform. But underneath the electrical vortex is another dark blue waveform. And next to that, that spiral, honestly, I don't know what it is, but that is going downwards. Now, I don't know if the water carrier one is coming up towards us, but if it is, that would show both positive and negative spirals of energy, which I've talked about, of clockwise being, it pulls in because it's going downwards, and clockwise pushing out because it's going upwards. So the blue one there, which is traveling clockwise, seems to be going away from us, which would be pushing, and the water carrier one is traveling counterclockwise, and it seems to be coming towards us, which would be pulling. So we've got counterclockwise pulling, and then the dark blue one, which is clockwise, which is pushing, which is what I've said about all electricity and electromagnetism. And again, at the bottom you've got blue, red, blue, red, blue, red, which again seems to be some kind of alternating current. But you've also got that pale green in there, so obviously there's something else going on. This might be the two turns of 137.5 and 160 degrees, which is actually 137.5, but it's actually tipped and rotated around. So it looks like it's at 160. And that's all plant growth, by the way. So I think, oh yeah, so we've got the tear duct with the salt water and the living water and the water of life. We've got the eagle, which is the waveform. Now we have the eye in the center. Now, several people have mentioned that this is to do with a black sun or something. No, this is your inner eye, and it is dark, because inside your head is dark. So your inner eye, where you create things, imaginations of whatever you want to think about, they are in the dark. So that's what that is. This is all concerning mental inner eye power of your imaginings, which are created by an electromagnetic waveform and an electricity bolt, which is vortex to rollover halo wave. And then finally, you've actually got the pineal gland and the pituitary gland actually being the shape in the brain of the third eye, the Eye of Horus. So yeah, everything is to do with electricity and electromagnetism and your third eye, which is in your brain. There are also depictions of hands collecting water from the gods. So again, that's the water of life coming from them. Now we're moving from the Eye of Horus into the Ankh. So basically this is another Egyptian picture showing you've got two snakes at the top, which shows it's a dielectric circuit. You've also got the anchors hanging off them, basically showing that electricity and electromagnetism are intrinsically linked, because that halo wave at the top, which I've shown in smoke travel and magnetism and energy flow, the halo wave is made from two snakes, and so of course they have the anchor on them, because that is a electromagnetic waveform, vortex to wave and back to a vortex, which depicts the circle at the top. Now I'm going to show you a couple of little things I made, trying to create the waveform which creates the cross of God, which is what the anchor is. The anchor is the cross of God, so I'm going to show you how a waveform does it. So you start off on the right with one waveform, and then on the left is the two waveforms put together. Then these will, those lines going outwards will snap together if it's an electrical field to an ouroborus. So you have two. You then set them at 137.5 degrees perpendicular to one another. That there is energy travel, which shows that it's vortex to vortex, also the cross of God. You put my two waveforms together at 137.5 degrees, Fibonacci circle. That's what you get when you stick it all together, which is the cross of God, which is the two waveforms, which is God and Jesus, clockwise and counterclockwise. Tighten them all up and you get an anchor. And so, as we can see, we have the anchor on the left, and then we have a Egyptian anchor mirror on the right there. And so, even though the one on the left has nothing to do with electricity other than it's got the three round circles there, which is the two dielectrics and the vortex in the center, that would be there's always one in the center and then a dielectric field of two snakes around it, and then that will always sprout into the eagle's wings, which is the rollover halo wave. So again, looking at the one on the right hand side, we have our electrical blue and red going to the eagle. So that is again just a representation of a vortex to a halo wave, and they've just turned the eagle's wings into a halo, because that actually happens in smoke travel. The halo wave comes around to the front and then they spin together upwards, which basically gives you that shape. Now also, if you'll notice, you've got your blue and red going up the middle vortex, and then you have a blue and red circle on either side of the arms, so to speak. And by this Thunderbolt's picture of a plasma discharge, you can see the two circles. Also, the bird's tail, suddenly it gets more intricate there. You got your blue and your red, and then suddenly you got blue, red, blue, red, blue, red. That, I guess, or is my interpretation, is where the crossover halo wave appears, and they intertwine and go left and right. And again, those two red circles are the Thunderbolt's depiction of an ouroborus torus field. And just slightly here, the bird's wings are the same as the pine cone pattern of all energy travel. And just before I go fully into the anchor, here we have the waveform. The eagle's feet is holding two vortices, and the halo wave, which is what spills out from the vortex and carries around before it becomes an ouroborus, which is on top of the eagle's head, is the wings, which is the waveform. So here we have perpendicular electricity to electromagnetism. Now onto the anchor. Okay, now this is a very important picture for electrical travel. You've got your anchor, and then you've got what looks like two hooded snakes facing away from each other. So you've got your dielectric circuit, which is the two snakes. If you look at the snake's feet though, what do we have there? We have the top of the anchor. So it is basically saying that the anchor is a double helix dielectric circuit coming off the top of the anchor, which then turns into a wave, which then joins the bottom of the anchor and comes up and becomes the arms and then the head, and then you show the feet again, which shows it's dielectric. And so what this shows is actually a fractal pattern. It's saying that the dielectric circuit, its feet, which is the head of the anchor, hook onto the last waveform. So that would be waveform, dielectric circuit, waveform, dielectric circuit. But to split them down into two things, you have the anchor and the dielectric circuit. This picture is again kind of depicting the same thing. The anchor is being shown as having two separate arms, and it's holding a dielectric circuit, which means there is a double helix wave inside each arm, because each snake is another double helix vortex dielectric circuit, shown by its feet, again splitting into two. So it's basically saying that this symbol of life is life, because we are electrically and electromagnetically driven. We are clockwork puppets. We are Pinocchio, sitting on EM field strings, which are the only things pretty much keeping us alive. So again, we're talking about living water. It's saying life and electricity. It's also showed it as water. So this is what it's all about. This is the life-giving signal showing that God is energy, God is electricity, and God is electromagnetism. Basically, the halo wave that I've showed on video is going to be the halo that is around people's heads, because it's energy flow. So there we have it up there again. Anchor, two arms, both a double helix because they're both holding a dielectric snake. And then you've got the waveform shoulders. This picture I'm going to interpret in electrical terms as electricity and electromagnetism, mainly because of the birds. Birds are in the air, and I'm guessing that that's what the depiction of this is. Electricity and electromagnetism is what holds up our atmosphere. Our EM shield is electricity upwards and electromagnetism sideways. And so, birds of the air, energy of the air, is electricity and electromagnetism. And the anchor is a symbol for electricity and electromagnetism. Electricity up into a rollover halo wave, which then gives a electromagnetic flare, which is the head. Now the Egyptians show the procession of gods with anchors in the Valley of the Kings. I'm basically just going to say that this is fallen angels who have come down and passed on knowledge and life, or promised life, but only passed on knowledge. It could be completely wrong, but all their gods are animals. There's animals everywhere. I'm believing that God made all the animals in the shape of basic, all the other angels, and we are in the shape of God. So God made the angels, then he made the animals to look like the angels, which you'd think, hey man, you just made a creation that looks like me, that's cool. And then he made us in his image. So I could be completely wrong, but I'm believing that that's why they have the heads of dogs and goats and all these other animals, is because these are fallen angels. These are creations. And so they're trying to bring supposed life and knowledge, when I do believe all they brought was knowledge, because obviously they didn't bring eternal life. So only God gives eternal life. And that is, of course, it. I've done several little bits of drawings and stuff on the anchor. I mean, this one here is based, because it's based on the electrical flare out of energy, which is the human body. Obviously it looks like the anchor, and it's also galaxy spin and planet rotation and all turbines and all electromagnetic fields and all muscle movement, and yeah, basically everything on that page is about the anchor as well. Different angles, how it propagates. So yeah, the Eye of Horus is depicting energy flow and life and electricity, and the anchor is also doing the same thing. And so both are intrinsically linked, because both are electricity and electromagnetism. That is for my good friend Anne, who's been in contact with me, and I do hope you enjoyed that, Anne, and you can use this in some way. Thanks very much. My name is Lee, and I'm a Christian. The following pictures are exactly the same, but just depicting everything I didn't put in this video that I could have. Thanks very much.